I had a little ride, did a little dangerous shit, went deep, and I pushed out on the duckweed pond and my normal pond that I go in, because they're probably a foot deeper than they usually are. But you know, I can only do what I could do. I mean, I don't sink this thing on purpose. I just get really close. You know, been through a little bit of grass. She's a mess. I can't say she. This is WIldKat because it's black and pimp. So I call it WIldKat Williams. Empty beer bottles. Diet Pepsi and Mick Ultra. Typical white trash. Here's my strap, my hook, half the grass in the pond. The WIldKat is dirty. You'll see in the video, I climbed Justin's T-Rex by accident, trying to push him off the hill. But it's alright. Got a little bit of duckweed inside. It's deep. For those that don't know, my snorkels are right there. See them sitting there? So I run my snorkels at around 6 feet, maybe 5'10", and I go through 7-foot deep stuff just by water wheeling. The thing about this bike is me and Jason built it, or we theorized about it, that it was a light bike, and we put tires that have a real small carcass and a lot of lug, and the thought was we'll keep it from being buoyant. And this bike does not float. I can park it, you know, chest deep, and it'll just sit there. It doesn't float at all. But it's buoyant enough that when I hammer it and I'm in deep stuff, it'll lift the front end and give me that 7-foot deep water that I can cross. And it works. It's fun. Jason and I were talking today that might be time for a change. Might need a custom 6-inch lift and some 37s or 40s. I mean, if you guys dig this thing and you think I should do something else, let me know. I don't know. I'd love to have it on something bigger, because then I'd just wreck everything here. I just need to kind of work on the same buoyancy. So I'd need big rims, small tires, 9.5 to 10 wide, BKT, something, and I need to figure out my buoyancy and make sure I'm about the same. Otherwise, all those big tire bikes, they like to float upside down. And I might go with bigger portals. Right now it is on stock suspension height, Super ATV arched A-arms, 4-inch Super ATV portals, and then 15-inch MSA wheels with Juggernaut tires, 32s, and then, you know, snorkel to the roof, and everything else is stock, man. It's got a tune in it, but the only thing I did the tune for was to try to make it not heat up the pipe, because it seems to run lean stock. So I put the tune in it, still runs a little lean, still burns up duckweed and grass that gets up in there, which scares the shit out of me because it might catch on fire, but it hasn't yet. Close, but it hasn't yet. And then I got a Speedwork clutch kit, and Speedworks did the tune. And the clutch kit works pretty good. A lot of hesitation, but man, a lot of grab when I need it. This thing, I put it in low, put it in full drive, and it goes anywhere, almost anywhere. I mean, I can palmetto crawl through this stuff if I wanted to. I could wreck it. It doesn't care. And it doesn't care, and it's stock axles, it's stock everything. The belt in it is the original belt it came with in 2016. And we're at 2019, and I've got a few hundred hours on it, and I've been doing this shit every time. I mean, I go hard every time I ride it. You know, every time I ride it, I gotta clean grass out of it. I always go deep. I'm always chest deep. This was a clean shirt when I started out. So, I go hard with it, and it doesn't care. And it's a Arctic Cat WIldKat Sport 700. Nobody knows about them. Nobody cares about them because they're not a Polaris. Well, Polarises are junk compared to this. This thing will do everything. It won't break. It does what it wants. The freaking tires are 75 pounds a piece. It doesn't care. It goes anywhere. And you'll see in the video. It's a beast. And Polaris is junk. I mean, they make really cool shit, but it's all made to the edge of what they think is duty, and they break all the time. I mean, everybody else doesn't make, you know, billet transmissions because Polaris's transmissions are garbage. Their engines are pretty good, but you know, their axles, their diffs, their snorkel gear, their transmissions, all garbage. And we became an Arctic Cat dealer. We're not now, because Textron's fucked up all that stuff. Yeah, but Textron don't know nothing. They own Bell helicopters, and they sell the Osprey, you know, the helicopter flying plane piece of shit. So they've screwed up Arctic Cat. But this thing is strong, and every Arctic Cat we've had seems to be strong. But you know, Textron screwed them all up, so you know, they're not going to be like that anymore. We have another one of these, and we might make another one just like this. Picked up a little bit of grass. Just a little bit. Beer's still cold. And she still runs. Good. Steak in my teeth, sorry. I might have to build a bumper. I just don't want to make more weight. That bumper is held on by wishes and, you know, pixie dust. It's held on down there by those bolts and those bolts up here. That's it. And I keep bashing it into stuff. See, it's dented there, it's dented over there. The plastic's gone. I'm a little rough on it. Really need to build that bumper, and I really should build a bumper here and run it down to the fender and run right down and tie into that. If I can do that, that'll save that fender, because that fender takes hell when I'm in the palmettos. But I'm gonna work on it. Not that I have other projects to do though. I got a lot of fucking projects to do. But WIldKat Williams, proving motherfuckers wrong all day long. I like it. It's a fun bike. They don't break. If it's stuck, it's barely stuck. I don't even have a winch. I got this clevis up front and the hook out back. And that's all I need. I mean, if I'm stuck, I'm not stuck bad. If I'm stuck far away, I'm still not stuck bad. It's just, I've lost traction, you know, it bottomed out. That's about it. I need a winch. I don't want the extra weight. So we'll see what the future plans are. We might involve somebody, build me a suspension lift, which will spread her out probably another 6 inches wider, which would be a pain in the ass because that's huge. And I want the height without the angle. You don't want to put a lot of angle on CVs. All these guys that do, you know, big lifts with a big angle on the CV, it's just, they're asking for problems. This thing, I could ride it. Nothing gets hot. It's easy. I had a Brute that was real big with a Cat Voss lift, and I mean, if it was a dry day, the boots would wear a hole in them. They'd melt a hole. It was just useless. It was too much lift. That's why I like the portals. I know the portals aren't great to trail ride in, but you know what I'm doing is going from mud hole to mud hole and pond to pond. So I'm not trying to drive 20 miles. You know, if I did that, I would have a different bike. And when I go to the mountains, I use a different bike. I don't use this in the mountains. So, you know, if you want something that will go a long way, no portals. But if you want to make clearance with gear reduction, run tires that are way too big, this bike comes with 26s. These are 32s, and they are 75 pounds a piece. These might measure to 68, but they're heavy, and you notice it. The bike notices it, but you put it in low, it doesn't care. I like the tires because I have that small carcass. Carcass only hangs up, you know, 5 inches off of the rim. Rim's a 15, so they're 30s or 25s. Yeah, so the carcass is 25. Maybe not. The carcass is 28s, 26s. And then you got a 3-inch. These are 32, so you know, we're somewhere around there. 28, 29 carcass. You know, which means that the carcass is actually more like a 28 or a 26, because their knobs get them to their height. So I have less buoyancy, less volume of air. And the less volume of air you have on your tires, the less buoyant you are. The less buoyant you are, the least likely you are to float upside down, like all bikes with big ass tires do. The thing I gotta try to figure out is, do I go to a big ass rim with a 40 Juggernaut? It'd be heavy as fuck. But it will have somewhere relative to the same buoyancy. You know, I'm going to add weight and then I'm going to add buoyancy. So you've got to measure out the weight and the buoyancy. So it's not scientific. It's a fucking bunch of redneck guesswork, but it worked. So I'm going to stick with it and keep going with the redneck trigonometry and make this thing run. What we need to build here is a sand bottom pond that is roughly chest deep, and it'll be fun for everybody, because then we'll all be able to run out there, and I'll be able to water wheelie this thing and have fun out there. It'd be great. We got all these crazy ass holes, and then we got one in the back that way that we call the J hole, that is basically a dugout hole, and we just need to make it bigger and a little bit deeper. It'd be super fun. Everybody would love it. We'd just go out there and be like running rivers. But we don't have rivers here. We got ponds and lakes and mud holes. And the mud hole I got there, or the one, the Glen hole that I always go through, that always is up to the roof, is about a foot over the roof now. And I couldn't bring myself to hit it. Just a little too much pussy this time. But I knew I would sink it. I mean, I'm always on the edge, but I kind of know from experience when it's safe. I know for fucking sure today, not gonna make it. And same thing with the duckweed hole. duckweed hole is sketchy because it's a hole that's sand bottom, but it's filled with years and years of duckweed. So when my tires go through it, the duckweed disappears. I mean, it just goes away. Sorry, I'm pointing you into the sunshine. I got sunglasses on, you don't. But so I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna load it up. Shit shower and shave. Load up in the dually. Head on home. And sleep off this partial buzz / hangover. Bye.